And so here we are once again doing another Design Me Devon. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, and I thought, what better week than the last week of content before I take my little cheeky Christmas break. You'll have to excuse the state of me today. I went out in the rain and I got very, very wet, and I just couldn't be asked to do my hair again, so that's the reasons why. Anyway, so here we are. I found a really good build that I wanted to renovate, and it kind of had a kind of Christmas tie-in for me. Because of nostalgia reasons. I found a really great primary school that I think was inspired from Let's Build the World with Henford Primary. And I absolutely fell in love with it. It is perfect. I have to reiterate this. This person must have been British for a start. But I just love the way that it looks. I really, really do. So yes, without further ado, let's head on over. I'm going to show you around the primary school pre-renovation, and then we're going to go into game and renovate it ourselves. And here we are. Look at this. This is Henford Primary School, and it's done by Dan Design. So thank you so much, Dan. I absolutely loved this build. I really did. And it says, nestled in the heart of Henford-on-Bagley, the Victorian school stands as a shadow of its former glory. Once the pride of the village, now sits empty and alone. Through wear and forlorn, the school retains a haunting charm, its intricate architectural beauty, whispering of an era of craftsmanship and care. The mayor of Henford-on-Bagley begs for it to be restored in aim to preserve its history, while breathing new life into its timely structure for generations to come. Lovely bit of writing that as well. Loved it. But it was just astounding. This is so British. This is such a great British Victorian primary school. It really was. And I fell in love with the actual build. So thank you so much once again, Dan Design. Go and check out their page as well if you can, my loves, and have a little look at their builds because they're absolutely amazing. So let's get on over into the primary school, and I'm going to show you around. I'm also going to talk you through what I actually did as well, so you can see it for yourself. So let's do that. And here is Henford Primary School. Just the little details in this. It was just astounding. It really, really was. I fell in love. I fell in love with this build. I really did. So we've got some bike parks over here from what it looks like. Little electricity box as well there. So this has got like a little bit run down in the interior and stuff, but it just feels... Was this your school or something? Because it was just on point. It really was. And if you found a reference for this, I'd love to know, because this looks very, very similar to schools that I've seen in real life. That's all I'm going to say. But it's very, very nice indeed. So we've got this lovely playground area, obviously like a house that's kind of, not a house, but a playhouse that's kind of been left to sort of rot away. I love that vibe. I really do. A little basketball court. We kept every single bit of this playground exactly the same, really. But what I did with this area over here is I knocked all of this down, and we went for a kind of sports day field. I just put like a few little lines to make it look like they could have a little sports day there. I just thought that was a nice little area for it. And then there's like this separate house as well that kind of like resides right next to the primary school itself, which is obviously a little bit run down here and there without a shadow of a doubt. The same up above as well. And what I did with this is I tore the whole lot down. And I was thinking, what could I get in a primary school that would really benefit children? And I did a greenhouse and some areas for them to grow like veg and stuff and learn how to do a bit of gardening. You know, what a great, great skill to have. I also loved that you've kind of put this sort of modern extension. I reckon this would have been like a 60s sort of extension onto the Victorian school to make the school bigger. That happened a lot as well. I'm sure we can all agree with that. And just the roofing on this was great as well. I absolutely love this line going up here. that there made, well, I won't lie to you, it made me cream a little bit. I won't lie to you. And I just thought it was great. I thought the roofing was absolutely spot on. These like two sort of like tiered windows and stuff. It was perfect. It really, really was. So starting over this way, here you come into a little reception area. I just love the feeling of this. This feels so realistic to me, coming into a school reception with the office here. We've got a staff room here as well. We kept that exactly the same, but what I did was just modernize the staff room slightly. Got rid of all of that, the sort of like dilapidated wallpapers and stuff, put a new kitchen in, and just made the area look a little bit more communal to be honest with you. Made it look a little bit nicer. The office stayed exactly the same. I didn't touch anything from that. And then we kind of got these corridors going up that kind of wraps around the whole front of the building and then connects into all these different classrooms. With this one here, I made it into a library. So we've gone for a library moment in here with like new computers and stuff. This one here, I kept as like a nursery, so like for toddlers and things like that. And that got me thinking, oh, what can I do to kind of have the toddlers have their own separate playground? And voila, this little area here became the toddlers playground. And what I did was just renovated this toilet area here and put in a hallway that kind of comes through into the back. And then the toddlers in the nursery have got their own little separate playground from the older children at the front. I just thought that was a nice vibe. We extended out the toilet because we did get quite a bit of it. Well, quite a bit of it was gone because I had to use that for the corridor. This one here stayed into a classroom. So this was a classroom. This one was an art classroom that I kept in. And I loved the assembly hall. Can you imagine just sitting in your shoulda, coulda, wouldas in here? I know I would have been. I used to love a bit of singing in the mornings in school. I really did. But what I did with this is just, again, modernized it. And I actually put a stage in. So I've risen the front area up a little bit more just to make it kind of fit in with my primary school from my younger years. And I put in a nice stage there. And I've also decorated it for Christmas as well. So that was the vibe that I really wanted to come across in here. Being a very festive month, I wanted the feeling of a nostalgic primary school at Christmas, and I think it worked. I really do think it worked. I didn't have to change too much. I darkened down the floors, put new wallpapers up, got rid of all like the bad smelly stuff, and put in newer bits and bobs as well, including new tables. We've gone for this same sort of color as here, but I've just brought in brand new tables instead, just so it could have worked. Another genius move, I love the fact that this is supposed to be like the TV that you kind of wheel in. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what that's supposed to be, like the frame and stuff behind it. You did that in most of the classrooms. We all got a bit excited when that TV got rolled in of one day, didn't we? And now I realise it's because our teachers were probably hungover on that day and they couldn't be asked to teach. They were like, right, we're watching, and it would always be something shit, wouldn't it? And there we go. Apart from they made us watch All Dogs Go to Heaven once and the whole classroom was sobbing. That's probably not a good choice on the teacher's part, that one, because that film is heartbreaking, isn't it? But amazing. What can we get a round of applause down below for Dan Design with this amazing build? It really, really is absolutely incredible. Yeah, one of my favorites that I've seen for Design Me Devon, and I've done a lot of them. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is get on over to the renovation period, and I'm just going to talk you through all of it a little bit more deeper in depth. And so here we are for one of my favorite bits. And of course, as a Virgo, it's the clean-up process and the demolition of this house on the side here. Really liked I even liked that house. I thought that house was absolutely great. But I just wanted that area. I knew what I wanted it for at this point. So it is just a case of going around and getting rid of stuff. All the stuff that I didn't really need. I kept the trees in the beginning because I thought, oh, I might be able to do like a little bit of a garden and stuff here. But realistically, with British primary schools, there wasn't really much grass out on the playground because it was in Britain, it rains a lot. Rain makes mud on grass. Mud gets dragged into the school. It just wasn't the case. So, I still wanted an area with grass, but that's why I went for that kind of sports day kind of vibe. They use it for those special occasions, maybe even like for PE and things. But yeah, that's what I did. So not much had to be deleted. I knew I was keeping quite a lot of the stuff, but I was just going around and being very selective with what I was actually keeping. But quite most of it got deleted, to be honest with you, because I just didn't feel like it needed it here. And not that it didn't need it here, because it looks great in here, but not that I needed it with the kind of style that I was going for. Still wanted to go for a semi kind of nostalgic kind of like vibe with it. I didn't go too modern with everything. I still wanted it to look like a primary school in my day. And yeah, I think it worked. I really do. This is me like figuring out, that was where I was like, oh, this is what we're going to do here. We're going to have a little corridor there. That's why I knocked all the sinks and that out, because I knew I needed an exit to be able to get out to cater for the toddlers sort of play area. Yes, I did. But getting rid of all the stuff, even all the kids' artwork, I was like, do you know what? See you later, loves. Nope, we're going to get some new children in here. I do keep a little bit of it. But yeah, I was just going around and getting rid of all the dirt and stuff. I really was. But look at me sat here in my hat. Honestly, this is me from a day to day, apart from when I'm recording or going out anywhere. and even then I'd wear a hat. But I got so wet today, loves. I was absolutely drenched, and I was just like, I need to record. I haven't got time to have a shower. I'm having a bath tonight. I haven't got time to have a shower. Let's just crack on. So after my dog walk today, I was like, yeah, that's it. That's it. I think this video might come out a little bit late for you guys. Maybe not too late, but I'm pushing it for time today. Pushing it for time. It's the last week. You know what that week's like before Christmas. It's that week, you know, and it's very hectic. I am really looking forward to having a little bit of time off over Christmas. I really am. So thank you to all of you that, no, I'm going to say it, and you're going to, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, you don't need our permission, but this is our community, you know. I don't want to ever feel like I'm taking the piss, and I'm not. I just need my time off, especially around this time of year. And I think more YouTubers should do it. They should just take the time out for themselves. But people were so worried about monetary things, and that's not everything. That's not the be all and end all. Your mental well-being and your physical well-being is the most important thing to to think about. Anyway, what we're going on about here, talk about the building, for goodness sake. I put in a couple more parking spaces, and I thought what those could be was maybe for like the head teacher, and then one free one for a bus or something. No idea. But I thought that was the good way to do it, and then fill up that space, because I got rid of that American high school bus because it just didn't really make sense. We always had mini buses back in my day. We had mini buses. And I always remember the excitement of getting on the minibus to go out on a school day trip. Used to bloody love that, I did. So this is kind of like an enclosed courtyard area, and this is where all the kids will come and learn how to grow bits and bobs. Did anybody else at school have that? Did you have like little areas where you could grow, like they used to grow veg? We used to keep chickens as well, like baby chicks. And yeah, they used to teach us all about it. I'd be interested to know down below. And we all actually had our own chicken as well. The whole class had their own chicken. And mine was called Tiny because he was the littlest one out of the bunch. And that was the case as well when I was at school. I was a little dot. I was little pocket gay, you could say. And yeah, there we go. A little bit of nostalgia for you. But yeah, I kept this really simple as well. I was like, I still want to bring a bit of colour in here. So I put out that graffiti mural thing that gets put on the floor. And then your Sims, if they do have this school, can use that to, get a little bit of colour, get a little bit of pizzazz out here, a little bit of creativity, if you will. And I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was a nice idea, just to bring a bit of colour and a bit of friendliness to this area, along with these decals on the walls and the fences as well. Just think it really worked. But the only problem with putting that on the floor is that with the video tour in my part, I do it all in the snow for the Christmas vibe, so you can't really see it anyway. But it does work. It looks lovely. And this was the beginning where I was like, oh, do I want to fence this area in? Because this is what I was going to do first, do that garden area. And then I was like, no, I don't want that. I want a sports day variety. So I get rid of this fence and put in, it's very simple. I just put in some white lines everywhere to make it look like little race tracks. And I put a couple of balls and stuff on it. I looked for other things. I looked for some like tennis rackets. We don't really have them in game. I looked for some something that could resemble a bean bag. Do you remember the little bean bags that we used to have? Used to have to carry them on like a tennis racket and stuff in the races. What was that about, for goodness sake? Or even on our heads, bean bags on our heads. I'm sure the teachers just wanted to make us all look like tech heads, to be honest with you. And yeah, but I couldn't find anything. You can see all the wallpapers and the flooring has been chosen now. I did keep a lot of the parquet flooring, especially in the kind of communal areas and areas where I don't want it to get too messy, like the art room. I kept it on the floor because paint versus carpet, not a good vibe. Plus children, not a good vibe at all. So I've kept carpet in most of the rooms, and you'll see me go ahead and keep the wood for the other bits and bobs as well. But I just darkened it down and freshened up brand new wallpapers and brand new like siding. I even went around and put new radiators in everywhere as well. But yeah, I just really wanted to go for that nostalgic vibe, because the feeling of Christmas when I was in primary school, I still remember the feeling. I still remember the smell of my primary school. And we had this huge, in the foyer area, we had this huge real Christmas tree that was just, it must have been about 12 feet. It was huge for a child as well. And it was just covered in so many decorations and stuff. And I always used to love that tree. So I've made sure to get lots of Christmas trees around this lot as well, in the interiors. And you'll see them coming to fruition. But I always remember like making Christmas cards, and we had a little cardboard post box outside each classroom that you could put your friends' Christmas cards and stuff in. It was just a vibe. Christmas in primary schools was just a vibe. The plays, the cooking, we used to do loads of baking and stuff, and then bring home all of our Christmas bacon to our parents. I just loved it. I really did. Little sandpit, by the way. This is that toddler area that I was going on about. Just an area for them to come out in. Put in a couple of new windows into the toilet as well. And then just made this area look a little bit more friendly with some decals. Separated this area off here so the toddlers don't run down that area and cause a nuisance outside the classroom, so you can imagine it. Just so they're all in like one area very securely, you know, with a big fence going all the way around. And this is where I was like, okay, I want to bring a few more planters in. I end up going for these here, but they were just a little bit overkill. I put too many in the beginning. And I ended up swapping out a few of them for some benches. You'll see that in just a second. I was just like, that's a bit too much. Let's get rid of these 3 and let's pop in some more benches, more seating. Yeah, I used to love break like in school, like especially lunch break, because you'd eat your food and you get to go out and play for a little bit. And we'd always play a game of like bulldog or hit. That's what we used to call it. It's called tag, I would imagine everywhere else, but we used to call it hit. And it was just a vibe, loves. An absolute vibe. It really was. Thinking about it now though, in my primary school playground, we used to have like these 2 hills right by the side of it. They weren't like really they weren't really steep, like they weren't huge massive hills, and we used to do roly-polies and stuff down it, so maybe grass. But saying that, I can only remember doing that in the summer. Oh, and that was the top playground. I'm just thinking in my head now, that was the top playground. So yeah, that they were being clever with it, because no, we were not rolling down the hills in the winter. There we go. I'm just living my youth here with you, loves. You'd have to excuse me. So this is the library. As I said, this was one of the classrooms, but I just wanted to have a nice little modern-esque library in here. Again, I've said this before on the channel. Libraries were my favorite places to be. And I wish, like, I mean, I could go back to them now. I really could go to a library, but I like having my own books at home, you know. But there's something about library. It's a vibe. It's an absolute vibe. And I still remember my primary school library as well. The smell and the vibe in there. The librarian was always lovely as well. She was a really old lady. I remember that too. Oh, we're taking memory trips here, and I'm absolutely for it. Putting in some new radiators outside, and then I thought some cubby holes as well. We always had cubby holes outside of our classrooms where you would keep your lunch boxes, your bags, your school bags, especially in primary school. Secondary school, not so much. We kept it in with us, but and lockers. We had lockers too. But in primary school, I remember cubbies being outside, and this is where your lunch and stuff would be, you know. Think Matilda when Mrs. What was she called? I was just about to say Luffingham. That's not the name of that one. That was my old head teacher. But Miss Trunchbull, when they were throwing all of the... That's the vibe. That's the vibe, even though that was based in the US. But that is the vibe. So this is the toddlers kind of crash, the nursery, as we would have called it. That used to happen a lot with primary schools as well in the UK. They would have a nursery attached to it, or at least on the site itself, and that's where all the babies and toddlers and stuff would go to, and it'd be separate from the school altogether. They'd even have their own entrance and stuff, but I didn't do that with this one. Got the same entrance, but it's kind of like, oh no, I suppose they've actually got their own entrance because of what Dan Design did there. That door there would be their entrance. Well, forget I said a thing, loves. Forget I said a bloody thing at all. But I just wanted to make this look friendly, a little bit more modernised, up to date, but chucking in a few little Christmas elements everywhere as well with these decals and stuff around. You know, just bringing in those little festive vibes. And I use these paper chains absolutely everywhere as well, because I remember making paper chains in school at Christmas. I remember sitting down and making paper chains with your friends. I mean, what a vibe. I'd like to do that now, to be honest with you. And then this store cupboard that was just off of this classroom, I decided to make this into a bit of like a toddler toilet. But what I actually end up doing is only having one toddler toilet and a sink. I'm lowering the sink down at the minute just so it kind of fits in with the vibe of a toddler. And I end up putting in a changing table in here as well. So I would imagine that'd be very important in a nursery. So we've done that. Didn't really do any food bits for the toddlers though. That wasn't really in my head when I was thinking about it. But now it would kind of made sense to have like a little area where they could make their food and stuff up. But I didn't do that. So another classroom. This is going to be for the kind of primary school children. So this one's just off of the toilet area. And again, I just wanted to fit in a nice friendly vibe in here. And I really do think it worked. I was watching loads of Christmas specials when I was building this. I've just been reminded of it when I was lining up these tables. The Royal Family Christmas special. Not the Royal Family. There was a sitcom called The Royal Family. And I just absolutely loved it. So I was watching those Christmas specials while I was building this. It's just that time of year, loves, isn't it? It's that nostalgic thing coming through. But storage for the classrooms as well, a bin, the all-important bin. And again, I wanted this to kind of be decorated for Christmas, so I put out loads of these like Christmas banners and cards and stuff. We even put a tree in this room as well. I remember having a tree in one of my classrooms in primary school. It wasn't the big Christmas tree, but it was definitely one of them. I've just noticed that tree's hanging out of the wall there. I hope I noticed that. Well, if not, it's not poking through the wall, but the tree skirt actually is. I just saw it. Let's hope I sort that, because that would be very embarrassing if I didn't, to be honest with you. And again, just more little bits and bobs, little like pencil holders and stuff. And I don't know. And all of these like handmade Christmas stuff. The teachers would put all your like Christmas like the stuff that you've made up, and then you could take them home at the end of the year and give them to your parents, and then they'd throw them in the bin. Well, my mum always said that she didn't, but I bet you any money she did. Like, oh, that's lovely. That is not going on my tree. That looks absolutely awful. I can imagine that being my mum. But yeah, I can imagine it being very. She was always very. Oh, that's gorgeous, darling. Yeah, that's absolutely lovely. And I look, but let's put that in the bin. That's bloody awful. That. Because that would be me as a parent, and we're very similar. So I wanted a little bit of a kitchen going on in this room, because this is the art room. So that's why I've kept the floor kind of wooden in this room. It would be much easier for, I would only imagine they'd have poster paints and stuff in primary school anyway. But much easier to clean off the floor, isn't it, for the caretakers and whatnot. But I just wanted to get a bit more storage in this room as well, just so it kind of looked like all of the art supplies and stuff could be around everywhere. Art was always my favorite. It was my favorite in primary school, and it was my favorite in secondary school as well. In my secondary school, it was an art specialist school as well, so art was the main subject that we were taught there. We did lots of different kind of art lessons. It wasn't just one lesson of art. It was kind of like media studies, sculpture. We did quite a lot, and I loved it. I really did, but never followed on through with any kind of artistic thing. Well, I suppose I did. Hair. I put into my art into hair, and I suppose I'm doing it now with building these houses, aren't I? Well, I didn't build this school, but you know, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it was worth it after all. I don't care anyway. I had a lovely time. So I'm putting in new radiators. I end up getting rid of these two radiators anyway, because I lift up the, and this is the assembly hall, by the way. So this would have been, I don't know what you would call it in other countries, meeting room. No idea. Absolute no idea whatsoever. Auditorium, I think, would probably be the American way. I have no idea though. Could be wrong. But I really wanted a risen stage, because I always remember a risen stage, and that's where the teacher would be standing up, greeting us all every morning before we went to our lessons, telling us to do great things, singing stupid bloody hymns. And do they still do that these days? I would imagine that they do. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But we used to sing some right crackers, absolute right crackers of primary school hymns in the morning. And it was a vibe. I was cold, I was naked. Were you there? You know where we're going with that. But yeah, nice stage. Put up a couple of Christmas trees here. I would imagine this would be like the Christmas play at the end of the year. And it wasn't necessarily always the nativity sort of like play for us. We did a few others. I remember doing the Dick Whittington. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember doing that. I remember being in a nativity scene. I was the donkey. And I'm going to see if my mum still got that photo. And if she has, remind me in 2025 to share it all with you, because it was a full fluffy donkey suit with big floppy ears, and I had to wear it. And I'm not lying to you here, looked adorable. That's all I'm going to say. So maybe I'll share that in 2025 with you. What a treat for you. What an absolute treat for you. Now with these benches, I was trying to show you do you remember the long PE benches with the white nodules on the edges of them, which was my homosexual awakening, because those nodules were very fun to sit on, weren't they? I was like, oh, Hayden, shut up. We're moving on, for goodness sake. I've said this before in public settings anyway. I've even tweeted out about what I just said, so I'm not going to be embarrassed about it. I think this is where we're coming to an end, because this is the staff room. Yeah, it is. So this is the staff room. Again, I just modernised it, made it look a little bit nicer. Put a little sofa in here, a couple of tables, and some pictures and stuff up on the wall, but that's about it. Anyway, my loves, I'm going to leave you now. You're going to go into the before and after video shots, and I will see you all tomorrow for some Let's Build the Worlds. Goodbye.